So you've got a bird, or you're thinking about adding a feathered friend to your family. That's awesome. Birds are incredible creatures. They're smart, they're funny, and they can form incredibly strong bonds with us. But here's the deal, and this is super important. Their small size and unique physiology make them extremely sensitive to things that we humans don't even think twice about. Thinking about getting a bird, or already have one? You need to know these dangers, because that avocado toast you love, it could be a death sentence for your parrot, and that scented candle that makes your living room smell like a pine forest, it could be silently poisoning their delicate respiratory system. This isn't meant to scare you, but it is a serious wake-up call. Many common household items and foods can be deadly to birds, and often by the time you notice something is wrong, it's already too late. We're going to dive deep into the science behind why these things are so hazardous and what you can do to protect your companion. This isn't just a list. It's a complete owner's guide to bird-proofing your entire life, because their well-being depends entirely on the environment we create for them. My goal here is to arm you with the knowledge you need to be the best bird parent possible. We'll go through everything from the kitchen pantry to the cleaning supplies under your sink and even the air you breathe. By the end of this, you'll be a certified expert in bird safety, ready to create a true sanctuary for your pet. Let's make sure your feathered friend stays safe and healthy for many, many years to come. All right, let's get into it. All right, first up on our list is something you probably have in your kitchen right now, the avocado. It's a superfood for us, but for birds, it's a super toxin. The danger comes from a fungicidal toxin called persin, which is found in the avocado's pit, skin, leaves, and even the flesh of the fruit itself. While some parts have higher concentrations than others, the entire fruit is considered a no-go zone for your bird. Even a tiny, seemingly harmless nibble can be enough to cause serious problems. The effects of persin on a bird system are swift and devastating. It targets the heart muscle, causing it to die, which leads to an inability to breathe properly. This condition is known as cardiac distress and respiratory failure. Within a very short time after ingestion, a bird can show symptoms like difficulty breathing, lethargy, and fluid buildup in their chest cavity. In many cases, it is fatal. So the bottom line is simple. Never ever let your bird near any part of an avocado. It's just not worth the catastrophic risk. Next up is another human favorite that is an absolute nightmare for birds' chocolate. We all love it, but for our feathered friends, it contains two powerful stimulants, theobromine and caffeine. Birds metabolize these compounds much, much slower than we do, which means they build up to toxic levels incredibly quickly. The darker and more bitter the chocolate, the higher the concentration of theobromine, and the more dangerous it is. When a bird ingests chocolate, these stimulants attack their central nervous system and heart. The initial signs might look like hyperactivity. Your bird might seem unusually energetic or restless, but this quickly progresses to more severe symptoms, including vomiting, diarrhea, an increased heart rate, tremors, and full-blown seizures. Ultimately, the overstimulation can lead to cardiac arrest and death. There is no safe amount of chocolate for a bird. Keep all chocolate, cocoa powder, and chocolate-containing foods securely locked away. We just talked about caffeine in chocolate, but it deserves its own chapter because it's lurking in so many other places in our homes. Your morning coffee, that afternoon cup of tea, the soda you grab from the fridge, and especially those high-powered energy drinks, they are all loaded with this potent stimulant. A bird's system is just not designed to handle it. What gives us a gentle boost can send their tiny bodies into a catastrophic overdrive. Just like with chocolate, caffeine ingestion leads to severe cardiac and nervous system issues. The bird's heart rate will skyrocket, leading to arrhythmias and palpitations. They can become extremely agitated, experience tremors, and suffer from seizures. The end result is often heart failure or total nervous system collapse. Remember, birds are curious. An unattended mug of coffee or a can of soda is an open invitation for a curious beak to take a sip, and that one sip could be their last. Always keep caffeinated beverages covered and well out of your bird's reach. This one should be obvious, but honestly, the danger cannot be overstated. Alcohol is extremely toxic to birds. Their liver is tiny and incredibly efficient for their natural diet, but it has zero capacity to process ethanol, the type of alcohol found in beer, wine, and spirits. What might be a single sip for us is a massive, overwhelming dose for a bird that can lead to acute alcohol poisoning almost instantly. Even a minuscule amount can cause severe depression of their central nervous system. You might see symptoms like disorientation, lack of coordination, stumbling, and lethargy, which can quickly progress to difficulty breathing, a dangerous drop in body temperature, and then liver failure. Their small bodies simply get overwhelmed, and the organ damage is often irreversible. A bird dying from alcohol poisoning is a tragic and completely preventable outcome. Never leave alcoholic drinks unattended, and never ever think it's funny to offer your bird a taste. It's a death sentence. Salt is essential for life, but in the case of birds, the dose makes the poison, and the toxic dose is shockingly small. Birds in the wild get the precise amount of sodium they need from their natural diet. Pet birds, however, are often exposed to the high-salt foods we eat, like chips, pretzels, crackers, and salted nuts. Their bodies are simply not equipped to handle this sodium overload. It's like putting diesel in a regular car engine. It causes a total system breakdown. When a bird ingests too much salt, it disrupts the delicate fluid balance in their cells. This leads to extreme thirst, excessive urination, and severe dehydration, as their body desperately tries to flush out the excess sodium. This process puts an immense strain on their kidneys, which can quickly lead to kidney failure. Neurological symptoms like depression, tremors, and disorientation can also occur. A salt-toxic bird is in a state of critical medical emergency, so always stick to their formulated diet and avoid sharing your salty snacks, no matter how much they beg. Onions and garlic, along with their relatives like leeks, chives, and shallots, are staples in human cooking. They add amazing flavor to our food, but they are highly toxic to birds, whether they're raw, cooked, or in powdered form. The danger lies in sulfur compounds found within these plants. When ingested by a bird, these compounds cause oxidative damage to their red blood cells, which is a very serious problem. This damage leads to a condition called hemolytic anemia, where the red blood cells literally rupture. Since red blood cells are responsible for carrying oxygen throughout the body, their destruction leads to severe oxygen deprivation. Symptoms can include weakness, lethargy, pale gums and tissues, and respiratory distress as the bird struggles to get enough oxygen. In severe cases, it can be fatal. Because onion and garlic powder are in so many processed foods, from sauces to spice mixes, you have to be vigilant about not sharing any table scraps that might contain them. Many of us know not to eat the seeds or pits from certain fruits, and there's a very good reason for that. A reason that is magnified 100 times over for our pet birds. The pits of cherries, apricots, peaches, and plums, as well as the seeds of apples and pears, contain cyanogenic glycosides. When these compounds are crushed or chewed, they release cyanide, one of the most potent and fast-acting poisons on the planet. For a small animal like a bird, chewing on just 1 or 2 apple seeds can be enough to deliver a fatal dose of cyanide. Cyanide works by shutting down the body's ability to use oxygen at a cellular level, effectively causing chemical suffocation. The onset of symptoms is incredibly rapid and includes difficulty breathing, bright red mucous membranes, shock, and seizures, often leading to death within minutes. While the flesh of these fruits is generally safe, you must be meticulous about removing every single seed and pit before offering a piece to your bird. When it comes to mushrooms, the rule for birds is simple, better safe than sorry. While the common button mushrooms we buy at the grocery store are generally considered non-toxic, many wild mushrooms are incredibly poisonous. And let's be honest, can you tell the difference between every single safe and deadly mushroom species? I know I can't. A single bite of the wrong kind of mushroom can cause catastrophic organ damage. The toxins in poisonous mushrooms can attack a bird's liver, kidneys, and nervous system. The symptoms can range from severe gastrointestinal upset, think vomiting and diarrhea, to complete organ failure. Because it's so difficult to distinguish between safe and toxic varieties, and because the consequences of getting it wrong are so dire, veterinarians universally recommend against feeding any mushrooms to pet birds. It's an unnecessary risk. Just stick to known safe vegetables and leave the fungi off your bird's menu entirely. Xylitol is a sugar substitute that's becoming incredibly common in our food supply. You'll find it in sugar-free gum, candy, mints, baked goods, peanut butter, and even some medications and toothpastes. It's perfectly safe for humans, but it is profoundly toxic to many animals, including dogs and birds. The danger is that birds are often attracted to sweet things, and they wouldn't know the difference between a sugary treat and a xylitol-sweetened one. In birds, xylitol causes a massive and rapid release of insulin from the pancreas. This leads to a sudden, life-threatening drop in blood sugar, a condition called hypoglycemia. Symptoms can appear within 30 minutes and include weakness, stumbling, collapse, and seizures. If that weren't bad enough, xylitol is also known to cause acute liver failure, which is often fatal. You have to become a label reader. Check the ingredients on all sugar-free products in your home and make sure they are kept far, far away from your bird. So, rhubarb is a plant that we use in pies and desserts, but it's one that should never cross paths with your pet bird. The leaves of the rhubarb plant are famously poisonous, but the stalks, which are the part we typically eat, also contain high levels of oxalic acid and oxalate crystals. These compounds are highly toxic to birds and can cause severe health problems even in small amounts. When a bird ingests rhubarb, the oxalic acid binds with calcium in their body, effectively robbing them of this essential mineral. This can lead to a sudden drop in blood calcium levels, causing tremors, weakness, and an inability to perch. More seriously, the oxalate crystals are like these microscopic needles that cause severe irritation to the digestive tract and can precipitate in the kidneys, leading to acute kidney failure. The damage is painful and often irreversible. Honestly, rhubarb is simply too dangerous to have around birds. This is hands down one of the most insidious and well-known dangers to pet birds, and it happens right in the kitchen. We're talking about non-stick cookware coated with polytetrafluoroethylene, or PTFE. Most folks know it by the brand name Teflon. When this coating is heated to high temperatures, typically above 530 degrees Fahrenheit or 280 degrees Celsius, which can easily happen if you preheat a pan on high or a pan boils dry, it begins to break down and release these microscopic, odorless, colorless toxic fumes. For a bird, inhaling these fumes is almost instantly fatal. The condition is called Teflon toxicosis or PTFE poisoning. The tiny particles in the fumes coat the air sacs in the bird's lungs, causing them to hemorrhage and fill with fluid, leading to suffocation. A bird can go from perfectly healthy to dead within minutes of exposure, often with no warning signs. They may just fall off their perch. If you have a bird, you must remove all PTFE-coated cookware from your home. It's a silent, invisible killer. Sticking with the kitchen, let's talk about your oven's self-cleaning feature. It's a convenient way to burn off caked-on grease and grime, but it works by heating the oven to extremely high temperatures, often over 900 degrees Fahrenheit or 480 degrees Celsius. Just like with non-stick cookware, this intense heat can cause the release of toxic fumes, not just from the oven's coating, but also from the food particles being incinerated inside. These fumes, which can include carbon monoxide and other volatile organic compounds, are extremely dangerous for a bird's sensitive respiratory system. The risk is so high that veterinary experts and bird organizations universally recommend that you never, ever run the self-cleaning cycle with a bird in the house. The only safe way to use this feature is to physically remove your bird, cage and all, from the home and keep them out for several hours until the cycle is complete and the house has been thoroughly aired out. We all love a home that smells nice, but the products we use to achieve that scent can be deadly for our birds. Scented candles and wax melts seem harmless, but they release a cocktail of chemicals into the air when burned. The fragrance itself is often made from volatile organic compounds, or VOCs, and the paraffin wax many candles are made from is a petroleum byproduct that can release soot and other toxins like benzene and toluene. A bird's respiratory system is a marvel of efficiency designed to extract the maximum amount of oxygen from the air. But, this also means it's incredibly efficient at absorbing airborne toxins. The VOCs and soot from scented products can cause immediate irritation to their lungs and air sacs, leading to respiratory distress, and long-term exposure can lead to chronic inflammation, secondary infections, and even cancer. If you want a pleasant scent, try simmering some bird-safe spices like cinnamon or cloves in water instead. Following on the heels of scented candles, let's talk about essential oil diffusers. These have become incredibly popular for aromatherapy and home fragrancing, but they pose a significant threat to birds. Diffusers work by aerosolizing tiny droplets of essential oils into the air, which can then be easily inhaled. While these oils are natural, that does not mean they are safe. Many essential oils are toxic to birds. Oils like tea tree, eucalyptus, peppermint, pine, and citrus oils are particularly dangerous. When inhaled, these oil droplets can coat the sensitive tissues of a bird's respiratory tract, causing severe inflammation, pneumonia, and respiratory failure. Some oils can also be toxic if absorbed through the skin or ingested, leading to liver damage or neurological problems. Active diffusers create a constant, concentrated cloud of these particles in the air, making them far more dangerous than passive methods. The safest approach is to avoid using essential oil diffusers in a home with birds. Aerosol sprays, plug-in air fresheners, and those little cardboard trees you hang in your car are all part of the same dangerous family of products for birds. They're designed to mask odors by releasing a heavy dose of synthetic chemicals and fragrances into the environment. These products often contain a toxic soup of VOCs, phthalates, and formaldehyde, all of which are known respiratory irritants and potential carcinogens. When you spray an aerosol air freshener, you're releasing a fine mist of these chemicals that will hang in the air, ready to be inhaled by your bird. Plug-in models create a constant, low-level release of these same toxins. For a bird's hyper-efficient respiratory system, this is like a direct chemical assault. It can lead to immediate breathing difficulties, and long-term exposure can cause permanent lung damage and other systemic health issues. Good ventilation and regular cleaning are far safer ways to keep your home smelling fresh. It should come as no surprise that inhaling smoke is bad for birds, but honestly, this applies to all forms of smoke. Second-hand and third-hand smoke from cigarettes is a major hazard. The nicotine, tar, and thousands of other chemicals settle on surfaces like cages, perches, toys, and even the bird's own feathers, leading to, well, constant exposure. This can cause chronic eye, skin, and respiratory infections, and it significantly increases the risk of developing heart disease and lung cancer. The dangers don't stop there, though. The aerosol from vaping devices contains ultrafine particles, nicotine, and other chemicals that are harmful when inhaled by a bird. And marijuana smoke is just as dangerous, containing tars and other compounds that damage the lungs, not to mention the psychoactive effects of THC, which can cause severe distress and neurological issues in a bird. There is no safe way to smoke or vape around a bird. If you or someone in your household smokes, it must always be done outside, far away from your pet. Our homes are often filled with powerful chemical fumes that we might not even notice, but which can be deadly to birds. Think about the last time you painted a room, varnished a piece of furniture, or used nail polish remover. The strong odors from these products are a clear signal of volatile organic compounds, VOCs, being released into the air. These fumes are heavy and can linger in a room for hours or even days. For a bird, inhaling these chemical fumes can cause immediate and severe respiratory distress. It can also lead to neurological damage, with symptoms like dizziness, loss of coordination, and lethargy. In a poorly ventilated space, the concentration of these fumes can be high enough to be fatal. Whenever you are using paints, solvents, varnishes, strong glues, or acetone-based products like nail polish remover, your bird needs to be moved to a completely separate, well-ventilated area or even temporarily relocated until the fumes have completely dissipated. Bringing a new carpet or a new piece of furniture into your home is exciting, but it can also introduce a hidden danger for your bird: off-gassing. Many new items, especially those made with synthetic materials, adhesives, and flame retardants, release a variety of volatile organic compounds, VOCs, into the air for weeks or even months after they are manufactured. This is that new carpet smell, or new car smell, we are all familiar with. That smell is literally the scent of chemicals leaching into your air. For a bird, breathing this contaminated air day after day can lead to a host of health problems. The constant chemical exposure can irritate their respiratory system, stress their immune system, and potentially cause long-term organ damage. If you are planning a major renovation or getting new carpeting or furniture, it's best to plan for a period of intense ventilation, keeping windows open and fans running. And if possible, keep your bird in a separate, unaffected part of the house until the worst of the off-gassing is over. Keeping a clean home is important, especially when you have pets, but a lot of common cleaning products are actually extremely hazardous to birds. Bleach, ammonia, products with strong fragrances, oven cleaners, and many all-purpose sprays contain harsh chemicals that can cause some pretty severe respiratory damage. When you spray these cleaners, they create an aerosolized mist of toxins that a bird can easily inhale, which can lead to chemical burns in their delicate lungs and air sacs. Even the residue left behind on surfaces can be dangerous if a bird walks on it and then preens its feet. So the key here is to switch to bird-safe cleaning alternatives. A simple solution of white vinegar and water works really well for a lot of surfaces. Baking soda is a great mild abrasive for scrubbing too. There are also commercially available enzymatic cleaners and pet-safe disinfectants designed specifically for use around sensitive animals. Always, and I mean always, read the labels and choose products that are non-toxic and fume-free to protect your feathered companion. This chapter covers two invisible, odorless killers that can threaten everyone in your home. But honestly, birds are often the first victims. We're talking about carbon monoxide and natural gas leaks. Birds are incredibly sensitive to airborne toxins, so much so that canaries were actually used in coal mines to detect these dangerous gases. If a bird showed signs of distress or collapsed, it was a clear signal for the miners to evacuate immediately. Carbon monoxide is produced by the incomplete combustion of fuels, so it can come from things like a faulty furnace, water heater, fireplace, or generator. It's deadly because it prevents red blood cells from carrying oxygen. A natural gas leak is also a major hazard. Because of their high metabolism and unique respiratory system, a bird will succumb to gas poisoning long before a human would even notice a problem. That's why having working carbon monoxide detectors in your home isn't just a suggestion, it is an absolute non-negotiable necessity for any bird owner. Now, we're moving from chemical and food hazards to physical dangers in the home, and honestly, one of the most common and tragic is the ceiling fan. To a bird flying freely around a room, a moving ceiling fan is basically a nearly invisible high-speed blender. Birds just don't perceive the spinning blades as a solid barrier, and their flight path can easily take them right into it, which can result in catastrophic and almost always fatal injuries. So, here's a simple but critical safety rule. If your bird is out of its cage and has the ability to fly, all ceiling fans in the home must be turned off. Double check and triple check, seriously. Make it a household rule that everyone understands. Even if a bird's wings are clipped, a sudden fright can cause them to fly up higher than you'd expect. The risk of a gruesome accident is just too high. Before you ever let your bird out for playtime, make a habit of looking up and ensuring all fans are completely stationary. Birds are not natural swimmers, and open containers of water in your home represent a serious drowning hazard. An open toilet is honestly one of the biggest culprits. A curious bird might land on the rim, slip, and fall in. Once in the water, their feathers become waterlogged, weighing them down and making it impossible for them to fly or climb out. The same danger applies to full sinks, bathtubs, buckets of water, and even large drinking glasses. It only takes a couple of inches of water and just a few seconds for a small bird to drown. This is all about supervision and prevention. The number one rule is to always keep the toilet lid down. It's a simple habit that can save your bird's life. When your bird is out of its cage, make sure sinks are drained, bathtubs are empty, and any large containers of liquid are covered or put away. Never leave your bird unsupervised in a kitchen or bathroom where these hazards are present. Birds, especially parrots, have this natural instinct to chew. Their beaks are powerful tools, designed for cracking nuts and shredding wood. Unfortunately, they just don't know the difference between a safe chew toy and a dangerous electrical cord. To them, a power cord lying on the floor or tucked behind a desk looks like a fun, springy vine that's practically begging to be chewed on. The consequences of a bird chewing through a live electrical cord are honestly horrific. It can result in severe electrical burns to their beak, tongue, and mouth. The shock can also cause immediate cardiac arrest and, death. Even if the bird survives the initial shock, the internal damage can still be fatal. And on top of that, a damaged cord creates a serious fire hazard for your entire home. The solution here is to be diligent about cord management. Use cord concealers, run cords behind furniture where they're inaccessible, or use protective spiral wrap to cover any exposed wires. This is a heartbreaking scenario that happens all too often. You think your bird is safe, a door opens for just a second, and in a flash, your beloved companion is gone, flying out into a world they are completely unprepared for. Pet birds just do not have the skills to survive in the wild. They don't know how to find food, avoid predators, or navigate back home. An escaped pet bird is a terrified pet bird, and the odds of getting them back are, sadly, very low. Now, a lot of people think this can't happen if their bird's wings are clipped, but that's a dangerous misconception. A clipped bird can still fly, especially if startled or caught by a gust of wind. They just can't get much lift. A gust from an open door can be enough to carry them outside and far away. Before you open any doors or windows that don't have secure screens, you must make sure your bird is safely in its cage. It only takes a split second of inattention for a lifetime of regret. Birds are naturally curious and explore the world with their beaks. This means any small object they can get a hold of is at risk of being swallowed. Things we might not even notice. Beads, buttons, sequins from a pillow, small pieces of plastic, jewelry, paper clips, staples, can all look like interesting toys to a bird. If a bird swallows one of these foreign objects, it can cause a life-threatening emergency. The object can get lodged in their crop or digestive tract, causing an obstruction, or it can be a choking hazard. Some small metal objects, like coins or hardware containing zinc or lead, can cause heavy metal poisoning as they break down in the bird's digestive system. The best defense is a clean environment. Regularly scan the areas where your bird plays and remove any small items they could potentially ingest. We've covered a massive amount of information today, from the food in your pantry to the air in your home. It might seem overwhelming, but it all boils down to one simple truth. Birds are amazing companions, but they're also incredibly sensitive. Their health and safety depend entirely on us being aware, proactive, and vigilant. Protecting them isn't about being paranoid, it's about understanding their unique biology and creating a home environment where they can not only survive, but truly thrive without the constant threat of these hidden dangers. Think of yourself as your bird's personal Secret Service agent. Your mission is to identify and neutralize threats before they can ever cause harm. By making small changes, switching your cookware, using safe cleaners, being mindful of open doors, and keeping toxic foods locked away, you are building a fortress of safety around your feathered friend. This knowledge is the single most powerful tool you have to ensure you and your bird have a long, happy, and healthy life together. If you found this guide helpful, please give it a thumbs up and share it with other bird lovers, and subscribe for more tips on keeping your feathered friends safe. Every share could potentially save a bird's life. Let's build a community of responsible, informed owners who are all committed to providing the best possible care. Stay safe and keep your birds safe.